Hello listeners, it is me, Squire Heath. This week on Premier Quest Podcast, we have Shoe Wars. Here's some highlights.
It's got to have at least 1% trash. They're made of trash.
But then your employers are like, right, this guy clearly takes quite a bit of the rubbish home. And he's fashioning it into clothes. Premier Quest. Wow. Podcast. Wow. Online. YouTube. Wow. Shoe Wars. Wow. Slippers. Sneakers. Scuffs. Slides. Boots for work. Running shoes. Wow. Premier Quest. I'm here. It's your host, Luke, and I'm joined by Richard. This is Shoe Wars 2. How's it going, Richard?
It's pretty good. Here at Premier Quest, the world's #1 satirical life advice podcast.
You really hammered home satirical.
Going back to our roots and having Shoe Wars #2. Now, those of you not familiar what Shoe Wars is, last season, no, what season we do it? Yes, early on season 5, we did an episode called Shoe Wars to rave reviews, reviewing various types of shoes and what we thought of them.
It was really more like what shoe would be perfect for our then Premier Quest, which was to hire a houseboat in Africa and record a season. So we were evaluating each shoe against a set of criterion, which was sort of all shaped towards surviving and providing the best version of us possible.
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, so with that in mind, how are we going to be evaluating the second round of Shoe Wars, Richard? Would you like me to run through each shoe? We have a brief discussion and then we perhaps spitball ideas for what the shoe would be good for in terms of their own side quests.
For example, Beryl Bones, who once lost all of his honour, had to run away to Auckland, and hence a running shoe would have been a strong recommendation from my end, but potentially a stiletto wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a phenomenal set of criteria for this week, and I'm just extremely excited to get into it and to start discussing shoe 1, Richard, which is known as the Balenciaga Triple S. Now, a bit of background here. When I was in Tokyo the middle of last year, the amount of these shoes that I saw people walking around in, and walking's probably not the correct way to describe it, because you basically have to clomp, because these shoes weigh 1.1 kgs each. So you've put 2.2 kgs on your feet as you walk around with them. And they also retail at 1,150 New Zealand dollars. So they're not exactly cheap either. But now, Richard, in terms of assessing their initial appearance, what are you thinking?
Well, at roughly $800 what's the purpose of these shoes?
They're really a fashion statement. They're like what the kids call a flex. So the only people that can really afford them are people who are balling. They got that cash. And so it's really a way for people to show how rich they are, because they can't be comfortable. 1 kg shoes.
Yeah, so I'm deciding we're going to pivot this episode a little bit. And I'm going to put it in a life advice situation we've got. And so we can sort of discuss whether this shoe would be good in that situation. Because honestly, on the face of it, I love them. 2.2 kilos.
That's so expensive.
So the issue has been written into us from one of our listeners that they want to have a spooky ghosting experience, but they don't believe in ghosts or aliens. So putting on these shoes, will this enable them to have one of those spooky experiences in life? I think it would. I'll have a crack at this. I'm of the opinion that anyone who buys these amazing, fantastic shoes must be out of their mind, given their price and weight, and that therefore they're more likely to believe in the extraterrestrials. So if you buy these shoes, I feel that you're going to start socializing in those high-end circles of people who believe in ghosts or aliens. And as you sort of know, there's a direct correlation between belief in ghosts and aliens and experiences of ghosts and aliens.
Exactly right. Sorry, if you're dropping $1,200 on a shoe, you're also probably not being able to afford that much food for that particular pay cycle. So you're having to fast. And if you're fasting for, a pay cycle for a couple of weeks, is that the kind of time frame where you could expect to have those sorts of hallucinations? So even if there isn't actually a ghost there, maybe you've got these shoes on and you're probably seeing them.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. So you're so hungry, you're fasting, you're hallucinating, you're more likely to see a ghost. And if you're wondering why each of the shoes weigh so much, it's because in the sole of each shoe, there's a little compartment filled with ghosts.
But actually, the reason it's called Triple S is because there's 3 soles. So they straight up create a shoe with 3 different soles, which is why it's so heavy and why they are massive. So I actually handled a pair of these in a mall in Tokyo, and even just like a normal size, so your normal size of a shoe, the back part of it sticks out by like 5 to 10 centimeters. So you just look sort of like you're a clown. And I'm wondering, do clowns see ghosts?
I'm not the expert here. We're going to have to get someone on to answer that question for you. I'm prepared to give my rating now. Is that what you wanted? Are you after a rating?
Oh, that is all I want. I want a rating. What's the scale?
So, reference back to this individual's issue in their life of wanting to see ghosts or aliens, but not necessarily believing in them. I'm going to give these shoes a 4.5 out of 5. Spooky ghosts in accordance with the probability of seeing ghosts or aliens while wearing these shoes.
That's actually pretty good. So that's a really, really solid start to Shoe Wars, and I can tell you're engaging pretty strongly with this, Richard, despite the fact that I also think you don't particularly like Shoe Wars.
I hate it.
No, he doesn't, folks. If you've got the app open, Instagram, you're on our page, you're now swiping to the next shoe, the Adidas Young One in the orange and navy blue colorway, coming in at 161 New Zealand dollars at the moment, Richard. The Young One is kind of your dad shoe throwback body. It's got that torsion midsole. It's got beautiful orange and navy suede combined with the very vibrant mesh of the rest of the shoe, and then it's got that big tongue with the classic Adidas logo. So this kind of vibrant classic design, Richard, how does it make you feel in your heart?
Just looking at them now, the speedy orange with the little yellow underlays have a bit of ferocious intensity to them.
Yes.
And I couldn't imagine a more perfect shoe to sort this next issue that's been written into us from one of our listeners. This individual, such a big fan of the Premier Quest coffee, now available at premierquest.com. They want to just drink more and more of it, and they want to drink 6 coffees a day, but they don't think that's good for them. So in this situation, you put on these shoes, you've had 6 cups of coffee, and you can just go out running constantly for hours on end, no problems, $161. It'll be like running on clouds, is how I'd describe it. Coffee clouds.
One of the big risks from drinking Premier Quest coffee to that level is that you move so fast, people sort of struggle to see you if you haven't got very brightly coloured clothing on. So these Adidas Young One in the orange colourway, high-res orange, they're perfect for that. So you've had 6 or 7 cups of Premier Quest, pop them on because you're moving so fast. People have a vague idea of where you are because of that orange blur down at the ground level. Given
they're orange, I'm going to have to deduct some points. So I'm going to have to give these shoes a rating of 3.5 Javas out of 5. For although, is that a proper scale or not?
No, 100% is. Sorry, I was just a bit taken back by such a low score.
Well, hear me out. So, although they'll be perfect for people seeing you while you're running, the problem is if you're running, it means you're not working. And if you're not working, you're not earning money. And if you're not earning money, you can't head along to premierquest.com and buy more Premier Quest Java.
Okay, you really saved yourself there, and that pitch leads perfectly into Sneaker 3, which in my opinion is arguably my favourite, not in terms of what I want to wear, but in terms of just what it is and for its price. And that's and I may be butchering this, but I think it's the Mason Margiela Fusion leather sneakers coming in at a whopping $1,750 New Zealand. Now, folks, of course, you've already swiped on the Instagram, but you may think that you've just come across a shoe that is effectively 5 or 6 different shoes taped, sewn, and hot glue gunned together. And I think that is actually what it is.
Man, these are a sight to behold, these things. Look at that glue on the side of them.
Yeah, there is actually hot glue on these things. So if you Google the Mason Margiela fusions and you get a good look at it, it looks at the back, you're like, that sort of looks like tape. What a hilarious thing for a $1,750 shoe. It actually is just duct tape stitched in there. And the stuff down the bottom actually is a form of putty. And the stuff on the laces and the midsole, it actually is hot glue. So basically they're trash.
Hey, do you know the history of these shoes, of how they came about?
Well, this fashion house has a history of producing, I don't know if it's like satirical, but they just push the boat out really far every release of these types of shoes. And they've done the same thing with the sock shoe trend at the moment, releasing effectively a beat up version of a sock shoe. And I guess it's another way to flex on your friends, is to be able to have enough money to buy a pair of shoes that are trash.
So here's the issue that's been sent through to me earlier today, and I kind of want you to solve this one and give them a rating based on it. So, my parents have become hoarders and are miserable. How do I help them? Throwing you a bit of a curveball there.
Thanks for contacting us. That's quite heavy. But what we see with this shoe, I guess what it is a beacon of hope. It shows you that you can take many different objects, tear them apart, combine them with very, very common adhesives, and create something that is worth a lot of money and is in such hot demand that it's essentially impossible to buy these because they're sold out everywhere. So take all of the trash in your folks' house, take it to Italy, take it to this fashion house, dump it out in front of it, sign some form of licensing agreement where you earn a share of the profits, and then feed that money back into your parents. They then hire cleaners, they then hire people who will come and help them even further, and thus you've solved every problem.
So in a roundabout way, you're kind of encouraging them just to wear their own trash.
Well, at least sell their own trash.
This is sort of like the derelict campaign from Zoolander.
That is so accurate.
So before you rate them, what scale are you going to use?
I'm going to use a scale of 1 to 10, 0 to 10. 0 being not trash, 10 being actual trash. But before I do that, I want to ask you this question, like, seriously, do you think that they're taking the piss with this? Do you think they're making a creative statement, or they're like seeing how far they can push out the boat without fucking up?
Maybe to some degree. Like, we did have those instances in the last couple of years where you had those Supreme t-shirts come out that were a white t-shirt that essentially just had the word Supreme on them, and they were retailing for $500. So obviously we're getting more and more people who just want that fulfillment and contentment, knowing that they spent a lot of item on a piece of clothing that is unique.
Yeah, those people are called hype beasts.
Yeah, so regardless of whether it's a piece of trash or not, you gotta play to your audience here a little bit. And whether trash is in the eye of the beholder is a question I put to you.
Are these the kind of shoes you'd wear to a job interview?
If I was a rubbish man.
But then your employers are like, right, this guy clearly takes quite a bit of the rubbish home and he's fashioning it into clothes.
Stealing company property.
Yeah. Can we employ him?
Yeah, no, I would honestly say that there are no job interviews where I would willingly wear these shoes, mainly because I think it's the kind of item that you would buy to hold on to for years in the hope that it'll go up in price. Because you know how trash appreciates over time.
Yeah, of course. Especially stuff from the Derelict campaign. I don't know. I kind of admire the point, not the point, but I admire this from a perspective of, you know, maybe some people think Premiere Quest is trash, but we keep producing it and people keep consuming it.
You know that's a lie. Nobody thinks this is trash.
So I'm coming in with a review or a rating of 0 out of 10 for these shoes, being that I think they are not trash. I don't know why, but I like them. Not saying that I'm ever going to buy them, but I like them.
Come on, Luke, you got to be honest. Your scale was 0 to 10 of whether they're trash or not. And you've basically said it's 0, so there's 0% of these shoes is trash. It's got to have at least 1% trash. They're made of trash. What are you doing to me?
I don't know. Like, are they, I guess they're actually made of trash, but surely you couldn't sell something for that amount of money if it was actually just going to fall apart.
Now, Luke, it's been a few seasons, but I think it's time we move into confession corner here. Have you bought a pair of these shoes?
I have not. I am not of that level of income at the moment where I can drop $1,700 on trash.
Hey, Luke, I just want to go off the record for a second. So now that, we're sort of off the record, this is just you and me talking. Honestly, have you bought a pair of these shoes?
Listen, I know that there are a knockoff pair available on AliExpress, but it's also not legal to engage in consumption of knockoff goods. Yeah, no, but it's always at the back of my mind, like, should one of us at Premier Quest bite the bullet and buy either the most expensive or the knockoff version, just to see what it's like to wear trash?
Have you purchased those shoes?
No.
Wink, wink. All right. Back on the record.
Listeners, I have not. We're back on the record. No, Richard, I do not own a pair of Mason Margiela Fusion leather sneakers.
I just thought with you giving them a 0 rating out of 10 out of whether they're trash or not, something was up. But apparently you're clean.
Oh, as if I own them and I couldn't seriously rate something I owned as being trash.
Yeah, maybe.
No, guys, listeners / viewers, there is not a chance in hell that I would ever buy those shoes.
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, Dave Matthews in the house. Hey, we're on to shoe 4. The Yeezy Wave Runner coming in at New Zealand 445 retail. I think that's retail. You can go onto a website called StockX, which is where people resell sneakers that are limited. And maybe they're more, maybe they're less. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader. But these, of course, designed by none other than your favorite musician of all time, Richard Kanye West. They feature kind of that dad shoe vibe. They've got the big chunky midsole. They've got suede leather. You got that lemon lace. You got the mesh. There's 3M all over the show. So if light hits them, they bloody light up like a fire. What do you think, Richard?
It's a pretty smooth design. It looks like a fairly thick sole. So this shoe I can see being perfect for a number of scenarios.
Yeah.
So the next sort of write-in issue we've had today is I used to be scared to order pizza and would get my younger sister to do it for me. This low self-confidence plagued me for most of my life until I came upon these realizations. So with that in mind, and these Yeezy Wave Runner shoes...
What the hell? Where have you got these? I haven't seen these messages. Where are they from?
I've just been asking, well, you know how we've been asking for life advice for the last couple of things. Well, I've just sort of been saving it up.
Ah, right.
And and so, Luke, are these shoes a confidence-boosting shoe, enabling an individual to go off and buy a pizza?
Well, Richard, shoe 4, the Yeezy Wave Runner, is a pair of shoes that I own.
Really?
So I can honestly, yes, really, I can honestly answer that, boy, oh boy, my confidence has never been higher. And I'm recording today's episode in these shoes. And I'm wondering if listeners have noted a change in my confidence. You know, maybe I'm a little bit more, got a bit more pep. Maybe I'm a bit more my true self because I'm able to express myself with these different shades of suede and the 3M adhesive, not adhesive, but 3M reflective surfaces, really bringing out the colours in my eyes.
You sound like such a confident young man, Luke.
Thank you.
I would be so impressed and pleased if you ever bought a pizza off me while wearing these shoes.
I actually have been to Hell's Pizzas in these shoes, and the confidence at which I told the pizza man that I can't eat gluten, I think he really was like, well, shit, this guy can't eat gluten. This is serious stuff. I'm going to tell the guy to use a clean knife. And I ate that pizza, Richard, and I didn't need to use Diastop.
Dave Matthews. I missed that.
Yeah, and probably for the best. Richard, would you order pizza in these shoes?
Well, I noticed that you went to an upmarket pizza place rather than a sort of low, cheap place like Pizza Hut, implying that you must have had a sense of confidence. So I'm actually going to, after this episode, look into buying a pair of Yeezy Wave Runners just to have it in my sort of back pocket whenever I need that sort of little confidence boost to get me through the day. But for now, I'll just default to having my cup of warm Premier Quest coffee. Available now for sale at premierquest.com. All proceeds go to fund our trip through to Africa to record a season on a houseboat. Shoe Wars number 1, we talked about the appropriate shoes for that houseboat. Now we're talking to shoes to boost our confidence and other things. So I'm going to have at least 2 pairs of shoes ready for Africa if that day ever comes.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. I can't wait to get these pups on on a houseboat. Okay, so here comes shoe number 5, and it is the Nike Mag self-lacing Back to the Future shoe that was released in a very extremely limited run in 2016, but now I think you can buy more versions of it. I don't know, I think the ones we're talking about specifically here are extremely limited, hence why the asking price on StockX.com is $25,000 US. Now, Richard, these shoes lace themselves, but apparently not particularly well. It also sounds like they're not the world's most comfortable shoe. So, I mean, would you be willing to drop $25K on a Back to the Future meme shoe?
Yeah, these are a bit outside my price range, Luke. So I'm not willing to drop that kind of money for a pair of shoes, regardless of how spectacular they are. Just sort of thinking about this, we need to find a situation where these shoes would be useful. Do you have has anyone sort of written in with other issues in their life where we can sort of think whether these shoes would be applicable?
Yes, here we go. I regularly use this website, wikipedia.org. For a certain part of the year, I am prompted with a recommendation to pay or donate money to the website, and I never do, and now I feel guilty. Can you help me? So what I'm thinking, Richard, is would wearing these shoes or in some way maybe donating these shoes to Wikipedia, would that ease a sense of guilt?
Well, I don't think donating a pair of shoes to a website is really going to help much. But wearing them, on the other hand, could just be the fashion statement needed to generate alternative sources of income that you could then use to donate through to Wikipedia. So anyone out there tossing up whether they should be donating money to Wikipedia or not, I suggest to hold on to those coppers for a little bit, save up 25 grand, buy a pair of these shoes, and then all the other sources of income will start coming your way, and you can donate that money to Wikipedia.
Well, what I was thinking is, so for 25K, you could buy 15 odd pairs of those Maison Margiela leather shoes. So even if you only bought 5 or 6 of those pairs, you've still got enough money to give a pretty sizable donation to Wikipedia. And from memory, they only ask for about the amount of a coffee. Like, they only want about $3, don't they?
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, so maybe there's even scope there for this listener to haggle whoever owns these Nike Mag self-lacing shoes down by $3. That way you purchase the shoes and you've donated the amount that Wikipedia wants.
In terms of the rating for these shoes, I'm going to use a scale of how charitable these shoes are. And Luke, you've done it. 10 out of 10. These are the most charitable shoes available at a price tag of $25,000.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. We've reached the end of the shoes that I've submitted for Shoe Wars, Richard, and I've confessed to owning one pair. However, I must reveal that I actually own a second pair of the shoes we've already covered. I'd love for some listeners' suggestion as to which of the pairs I secretly own.
It's going to be the cheapest pair, isn't it? The orange ones.
Listen, listeners, please don't listen to Richard. He's in somewhat of an antagonistic mood. He's lacking the confidence of the wave runners that, and he seems to be. He's directly attacking me, and I've now seen shoe 6 that you've submitted, Richard.
So are you ready, Luke, to go to surprise shoe wars corner, where we talk about a surprise shoe?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So anyone looking at shoe 6 at the moment might be like, whoa, that kind of looks like an old bag filled with sticks.
It looks more trash than the shoe made of trash.
Where in fact the price of this shoe is priceless, as this is the oldest leather shoe discovered. At 5,500 years old, the well-preserved cowhide shoe predates Stonehenge and the Pyramid of Giza. It is made of a single piece of leather and was shaped to fit the wearer's foot. The shoe contains grasp, although the archaeologists are uncertain as to whether this was to keep the foot warm or to maintain the shape of the footwear. The shoe is relatively small, corresponding to a UK woman's size 5, but it could have been worn by a man of that period with small feet. So, Luke, how do you sort of feel about this shoe after those fascinating details and given its priceless price tag?
Well, the interesting thing is you compare it to Surprise Shoe 7, which we're not actually going to discuss, but it's being used for reference, and that is the Adidas Yeezy Sesame, which released in 2018. It actually has a seam going up the middle, has a very similar colour. The straw on the insole of the shoe is about the same colour. Very weirdly, I wonder if Kanye West was inspired by this shoe when he designed that sneaker. So what I'm thinking is this is incredibly fashion forward, this shoe. And it's the kind of thing that I think that you, Richard, would look very, very good in.
You know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to go back to the last episode where number one Japanese surgeon was given some life advice around what to do with all his Speed 2 VHS tapes. And one of the pieces of advice was to rob a bank. I can't remember why. But we may need to employ his services. Assuming he was successful and followed our life advice, it means he's now a successful thief. And I suggest that we sort of employ him in an Ocean's 11 situation to steal these shoes for us.
So is this shoe being priceless, make it the most valuable shoe in Shoe Wars this week?
The only problem here is there's only one of them.
Yeah, and I just worry about the wearability. Like these days we've got things like full boost midsoles, like you find in the Wave Runner. And I just don't know if you're going to get that same level of wear for this, but you're spending who knows how much money. And my advice as a Premier Quest host is that, folks, if you are able to buy these, I'd seriously think twice about it and maybe use some of that money to donate to Wikipedia.
Yeah. And it's just seriously reflecting on what we've talked about today. I can't tell any difference between the world's oldest leather shoe and the pile of trash Fusion leather sneakers. It's like I'm looking at the same picture.
Well, yeah, the thing is, at their time, like when this oldest leather shoe was freshly made in the sweatshop that it was made in China, where most shoes are made, do you think that it had some good wearability? Like, clearly it's lasted 5,000 years. I don't think that Fusion sneaker would last that long.
Yeah, I think, again, because this is priceless, I think this is more of a fashion piece where someone bought it and just kept it in pristine condition, locked away for 5,500 years. And so now its price is so astronomical that nobody can buy it.
Would you rather own this shoe or your favourite Picasso painting?
Favorite Picasso painting, Luke? I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone who would pick the shoe.
Well, there's some real sneakerheads out there, and I think.
So, are you going to give this another rating for us on the scale of trash to not trash?
The thing is, the materials, they're not actually trash. Like, they're leather and grass, which is not trash. Whereas the Mason Margiela, I think, I don't know, is hot glue just trash?
Well, and a bit of a plot twist. This shoe doesn't have the hot glue, but the reason it's been preserved for millennium as this was covered with a layer of excrement that acted as a solid seal, similar to the glue.
Right, so someone either loved or hated this shoe enough to excrete some sort of bodily solid onto it, either to preserve or destroy it. Richard, what's your gut instinct? Did the person want to destroy the shoe or save the shoe?
Well, similar to the fusion leather sneakers, I think the act here was to preserve it.
Was excrement the hot glue of 5,000 years ago? Man, that would be awful. And they didn't have Diastop back then either, so, there would be hot glue everywhere.
Wrapping this up, Luke, do we have a winner of today's Shoe Wars?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to know what the exact way we assess a winner is. The shoe we've definitely talked about the most is the Maison Margiela Fusion Leathers, but the one I think that solved the life advice problem the most effectively was the Balenciaga Triple S's, retailing at $1,150. And for that reason, they are my nominated Shoe Wars 2 winner. They are the second shoe that will go into a final round battle at some stage in the future to determine if we wear it on the houseboat in Africa.
There's a bit of a coincidence here, as the winner of Shoe Wars 1's, those lovely, fluffy slippers, also cost about this price, Luke. So we're getting ourselves into a bit of a pickle here. We're going to have to fork out $1,200 each for the eventual winner of Shoe Wars, because when we go to Africa, the winner of the ultimate Shoe Wars, we're going to buy a pair of those.
Yeah, I am stitching us up, but I'm also hoping that we're going to hit that YouTube subscriber level of 1,000 and really start earning that revenue. And I would like to issue my third formal apology of the season so far. I know that last Shoe Wars received a number of submissions for Shoe Wars 2. We haven't covered them in this episode, and that's because I'm saving them up for Shoe Wars 4, which is crowd favourites.
Yeah, the listeners' shoes, man, that's going to be a good chance to rip into some shoes there.
Yeah, it's going to be bloody classic. We got some real doozies sent in last time, and please send in more now. If there's something that you think is arguably uglier than the Triple S or those Fusion Leathers, please let us know, because Lord knows I tried and I couldn't find it.
That's about us.
Winner for you? Just quickly, winner for you?
I think in terms of practicality of actually serving to boost confidence in one's life, I suppose the Yeezy Wave Runners will have to be up there. But saying that, my overall winner is the same as your overall winner.
Yes.
The shoes that weigh 1.1 kilos each and are filled with gold ghosts in the soles.
Oh man, they are the least practical boating shoe in history, without a doubt. So yeah, folks, that's it from us. If you're listening on YouTube, thanks. It's been a real treat. Make sure you head over to our Instagram, Premiere Quest. You're going to find the pictures of the shoes, because you probably needed those at the start of the episode. So rewind the episode now that you've got that address and have a bloody good time. And that's it from me, Richard.
Yeah, and don't forget to head along to premierquest.com to buy some Premier Quest coffee. All proceeds go to fund our trip.
Yeah, we're going to need to sell literally hundreds of bags to even be able to buy these colossal
And also, don't forget
sneakers.
to rate and review us on iTunes and all that good stuff, because it helps.
Yeah, thanks guys. We love you so much, and please enjoy the festive season that is mid-February.